Hello, this is the Branches of Government, Section D, Federalism lecture. Our prioritized standard is Government Civic Standard 20. Objectively, we're going to examine how federalism grants powers to the federal government, state governments, and allows for shared or concurrent powers. The U.S. embrace of federalism produced a compromise between an extreme concentration of power by a central government and a loose confederation of independent states by sharing power between national and state governments. The Constitution granted some enumerated powers to the federal government that ensured Congress had protection from state governments, as for instance, the Commerce Clause, which can be found in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, ensures that only Congress can regulate business between nations and the states. Although I should point out, states can still regulate trade that doesn't actually cross state lines. So within the state of New York, it doesn't ever cross a state line. They can actually regulate that commerce. But if it goes to different states, then that's the federal government. The Supremacy Clause, which can be found in Article 4, Clause 2, said the Constitution, federal laws, and treaties were the supreme law of the land, guaranteeing federal law always overrode state laws. So this is the best. Things below it are less supreme, thus the term Supremacy Clause. All of the other enumerated powers given to Congress in Article 1, Section 8 limits the power of state governments. State governments were granted powers by the Constitution also. For instance, the Full Faith and Credit Clause, which can be found in Article 4, Section 1, ensures that public acts, meaning laws, records, and judicial outcomes decided in one state will be respected in all the other states. So if you get married in one state and you decide to move to another state, this means that that other state will be forced to honor your marriage rights. The 10th Amendment, this reserved powers not granted to the national government to the many state governments. So things like establishing local governments, providing for education, providing police and fire protection, things that are not in the Constitution, that are reserved for Congress. That means, hey, that's up to states to do all those things. State legislatures originally selecting U.S. senators was also meant to empower state governments at the national level, although that has been altered by the 17th Amendment that allows private citizens to actually elect the senators themselves. There are many powers that are also both shared by the federal and the state governments. So like the power to tax, maintain courts, borrow money. These are the ones that are sometimes called concurrent powers. All right, that was a quick one. This concludes the Branches of Government, Section D, Federalism lecture. Again, we hit Government Civics Standard number 20, and objectively now you can examine how federalism grants powers to the federal government, state governments, and allows for shared or concurrent powers.